What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Empire on Deck. I am your host, Roman. Let's jump right into Saturday's action, shall we? Leading off, we have the Philadelphia Phillies snapping their 3-game losing streak, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-3. Ketel Marte homered, which was part of a 2-run first inning by the Arizona Diamondbacks, but it was a Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper back-to-back home runs in the third that made all the difference in this one, as those 2 homers accounted for all 4 Philadelphia runs. Philly wins 4-3 to bring their record back to 500 at 7-7. Riley Green goes 2 for 3 with a homer and 4 RBIs. And Casey Mize goes 5 2/3, allowing just 1 earned run, as the Tigers beat the suddenly ice-cold Marlins 6-1. The Pittsburgh Pirates continue to play really good baseball as they beat the Cubs 4-3. Oneill Cruz collected 4 hits and 3 stolen bases. Nick York went 3 for 4 with a double. And Braxton Ashcraft was good for Pittsburgh once again, going 5 innings, allowing just 1 earned run and striking out 9. But it was the Cubs' defense that made the difference in this one, as Chicago committed 3 errors, leading to a Pittsburgh victory in 11 innings, putting the Pittsburgh Pirates in first place in the NL Central for the first time since April of 2024. In the game against the Toronto Blue Jays and Minnesota Twins, the Twins score 7 runs in the third, capped by a Trevor Larnach 3-run homer, as Minnesota wins 7-4. And Joe Ryan was solid in this one, going 7 innings pitched, just 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. Cincinnati got back in the win column on Saturday, despite entering Saturday as the team with the fewest runs scored in Major League Baseball. Despite that, they scored 4 runs in the first inning. Elly De La Cruz went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 stolen bases, and Nathaniel Lowe added a double and 3 RBIs of his own. The Reds beat the Angels 7-3. The New York Mets did end their scoreless streak, scoring early in Saturday's game against the Athletics, but it was the Athletics that handed the Mets their 4th straight loss. They scored 2 runs in the second, 5 in the third, and 4 in the 8th to beat the Mets 11-6. Tyler Soderstrom led the way, homering twice and driving in 5 runs. The Athletics' victory brings them back to 500 at 7-7 on the season. In the Saturday matchup between the Cleveland Guardians and Atlanta Braves, Jose Ramirez homered in the first inning, and that was really all Cleveland needed. They did add 5 more runs to win this one 6-0, as Daniel Schneemann also added 2 RBIs of his own. But the story in this one was Parker Messick. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of Parker Messick, have been since his first appearance on the scene last year. And he was excellent. 6 2/3 shutout innings and 5 strikeouts. And the Cleveland pitchers held Atlanta to just 5 hits in the entire game. Cleveland won this one 6-0. Kansas City versus the Chicago White Sox was a true pitcher's duel, as both teams managed just 4 hits, but it was Kansas City that came out on top in this one 2-0. Maikel Garcia was 2 for 4 with a homer and a double, but it was Michael Wacha who showed out in this one yet again, going 8 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts, lowering his MLB-best ERA to 0.43. Again, the Royals win this one 2-0. And I feel like that is the score. This is something that's just occurring to me. We've seen more 2-0 games than anything in the majors this season. It's just something that sticks out to me. I feel like we see multiple 2-0 games every single day in Major League Baseball so far in the 2026 season. Just a thought. Max Fried was really good for the Yankees, going 8 innings pitched, allowing just 6 hits and 6 Ks. But the Yankees did extend their losing streak to 4 games. Small ball was the story in this one. As Tampa Bay scored 2 in the 10th, despite the ball never leaving the infield. And it was Tampa winning 5-4, again, notching the Yankees' 4th straight loss, dropping them to 8-6 on the season. Speaking of 4 straight losses, the Milwaukee Brewers have followed the exact same trajectory as the New York Yankees, starting 8-2, tied for the MLB's best record, and have suddenly found themselves losers of 4 in a row, now at 8-6. Saturday's victor was the Washington Nationals again, winning 3-1. Foster Griffin was on the mound for Washington, going 5 1/3 shutout innings, allowing just a single hit and a single strikeout. So this tells you that he was inducing a lot of ground ball pitches. He was inducing a lot of ground ball outs. He was being very crafty, very hard to figure out. The Brewers had just 2 hits. One of them came from a William Contreras homer, and that accounted for Milwaukee's only run. Washington won this one 3-1. Milwaukee has lost 4 in a row, just like the Yankees. The Boston Red Sox bats finally woke up on Saturday, beating the St. Louis Cardinals 7-1. Not to be outdone by his brother in Milwaukee, Wilson Contreras went 2 for 4 with a double and 3 RBIs on the day. Boston scored 5 in the ninth to win 7-1, but the story for Boston was Ranger Suarez, who went 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. One thing I do want to call out for the St. Louis Cardinals, who managed just 1 run, that run came from a Jordan Walker solo home. And Jordan Walker is now tied with Yordon Alvarez and Gunnar Henderson, all 3 of whom notched their 6th homers on Saturday for the Major League Baseball lead. Mickey Moniak went 3 for 4 with 2 homers and 4 RBIs, but it was the San Diego Padres scoring 9 runs on 10 hits. And they did it in bunches, scoring 3 runs in the 3rd, 4th, and 6th innings, and now suddenly the Padres have righted the ship, and their record stands at 9-6 on the season. The game between the Dodgers and the Texas Rangers had a lot of scoring and a lot of scoring early. There was 5 total runs scored in the first inning, 4 by the Dodgers, 1 by the Rangers. And Shohei Ohtani went 2 for 4 in this one, including a leadoff homer, extending his on-base streak to 45 consecutive games. Brandon Nimmo hit 2 home runs for Texas, including that first inning run. He went 3 for 4, also added a double and drove in 3 RBIs, but that wasn't enough for Texas, as Teoscar Hernandez himself went 2 for 4 with a homer, a double, and 3 RBIs. And it was the Dodgers who now possess the league's best record at 11-3. And the last game of the night was truly something. Houston versus Seattle. Houston scored 3 runs in both the 2nd and 3rd innings. It looked like they were going to run away with this. Cam Smith went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. Yordon Alvarez went 3 for 6, and he was a triple shy of the cycle. As I mentioned, just like Jordan Walker and Gunnar Henderson, he hit his MLB-leading 6th home run of the season on Saturday. Those 3 guys are tied for the league lead. But it was Seattle that scored 5 runs in the 5th, including Julio Rodriguez's first homer of the season to tie the game. The story of this one came in the bottom of the 9th, when Abreu was on the mound out of the bullpen for Houston, walked to the bases loaded, and then J.P. Crawford came up and hit the walk-off single to give Seattle the victory. And not to be forgotten, Crawford went 2 for 3 in that game with 3 RBIs. So Houston literally had this one in their hand and quite literally gave it away. And that was the last game of the night, but I realized looking at my notes that I accidentally skipped over the game between Baltimore and San Francisco, so we're going to end this video there. Jeremiah Jackson and Gunnar Henderson both homered for Baltimore, and as I mentioned, Gunnar Henderson shares the MLB lead with his 6th homer of the season. And it was Baltimore beating San Francisco 6-2 in this one, despite getting out-hit 10-9. And despite the mounting injuries, the Baltimore Orioles have found their way back to 500 at 7-7. That completes Saturday's action. I am Roman for Empire on Deck, and I'll see you to recap Sunday.